My favorite saint. There's several of them, but I'll pick out one. You only asked for one. It would be Martin de Porres. I've collected artwork of him over the years, and why he's my favorite? Well, he's from South America, Lima, Peru, the same place where Rose of Lima, and he's considered to be sort of the premier model of social justice and charity and care for the poor. He worked with the abject poor outside of the Dominican Priory down there in Lima there in the 1600s. And for the longest time, of course, he was the only saint of African descent that African American Catholics knew of, had devotion towards, and had a pretty long path towards declaration of sainthood from the time he died to the time he was actually canonized. I read a book not too long ago on his life, and the writer there opines that the reason why it took 300 some years to proclaim him as saint was because his dossier, which was sent to Rome, sunk on a Spanish galleon twice. I don't know how true that is, but it sounds like a nice little piece of news. But no, we see Martin as a very gentle man, and a man who really won the hearts of many Peruvians in his area and left a mark that's still there. They have great festivals for him every year. This feast, November 3rd. My Episcopal motto is inscripted in the Latin. It's Emite me Domine. It's 3 words, which translated in English would be send me, O Lord, or send me forth. Emite. That comes from a passage of the prophet Isaiah. And ever since I was a priest, I always understood the inspiration for my priesthood to be a sending forth wherever the Lord decided I should go and labor for the sake of the kingdom. I was willing to take that up. Well, all the 6, if you take them collectively, they would date back to the late 1700s, early 1800s. And the social times were still embroiled in racial demarcation and trafficking of peoples, especially dark complected peoples. And these people, I think, the women as well as the men, left us models of stamina, perseverance, great suffering, and that wells up in most African Americans, African American Catholics, a reason for keeping on, kind of thing. We all have our reasons for honoring one or the other. Most of them are women. There are 2 men and then 4 women. Founders of religious communities, great servants of the poor, 1 priest, gentle people, great women servicing in the church. They're special, and we hope that in due time they can be honored at the altar with this declaration of sainthood. Holy people. I'm very much, I've always felt close to the Campaign for Human Development as an initiative of the bishops to somehow empower people to construct life for themselves. People who were starting out with service and business and apostolates, who otherwise wouldn't be able to do so because of lack of resources in that. And allowing people to have a sense of accomplishment, that they were doing something for God and for others. I think that's one of the more stellar projects that you as bishops have had over the years. And I served on that particular committee, I think for a term or 2, at least 6 years are there. We hope that project, Campaign for Human Development, can continue into the future. I think the most rewarding thing about being a bishop is being with people at some significant moments in their life, uh, birth, life, and death. I think each of the sacraments that we celebrate with people punctuate those particular moments in people's lives. They turn out to be really paramount. Without those moments, without those experiences, there wouldn't be very much for bishops to do, you know? So that's important. The most trying thing about being a bishop, I think, is trying to do what we are asked to do uh, and have the endorsement of the wider society to understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. Um, People have their own understandings of church. Sometimes they're rather peculiar and they can be misunderstood. But we try to make inroads in that area for people to understand that we're there for some measure of good for people who are all working towards somehow getting into the kingdom. It's the best we can.